Alright, so we're gonna go over how to increase your BP, maybe a little bit of team builds and stuff like that. Alright, so let's get started here. So the easiest way, or the way to increase your BP the most right now, would be upgrading your Guardian. So if you go over here to Guardian, right, the Guardian gives like your flat out biggest increases in your stats per upgrade, right? So both the power stage level and also the Guardian level itself. So increasing both of these will increase your BP by a lot. This is just your raw BP, right? This isn't actually like individual BP for your Pokemon. So other ways to increase your BP itself, right, is mounts. Right, so always upgrade your mount anytime you get your upgrade books, right? It should always pop up as a little red circle anytime your stuff is available, right? So always end up upgrading as much as you possibly can. Z power crystals. So I would buy the first 3 if you can and/or want. The first 3 are always good. The bottom 3 aren't as good in my opinion. They are okay, but they are a little overpriced in my opinion, so I wouldn't go there. So the first 3 only. The last 3 you can buy probably way later in my honest opinion. If you have some extra tickets, I would definitely head on over to the shop, go to the coupon area, and go all the way to the bottom and buy a season's deer, right? So you need 10 of these, it would cost you a total of 80 tickets, right? And then if you go to Hero, you go to Transform, and you go here, that's where you would buy it, right? Now, every one of these you purchase or buy actually increases all your stats by that amount too, right? It's cumulative, so it'll actually add them all together, right? So I got the Spring Deerling, it added this much attack. This one you get through the lotto, so I don't have it yet. Then I got the Autumn Deerling, then I went ahead and got the Winter Deerling too, right? But once I get all of them, the last one I actually get this as well. Let's see here. So for another way to increase BP, right? So if you go to Guild, and here's my guild here, like someone talked up. Tech, Guild Tech. So with Guild Tech, you want to upgrade your personal tech as much as possible, and you want to upgrade it for your setup, your lineup, right? So for right now, to like combo up, my assassins use combo up, right? So you want to upgrade that as much as possible. My secondary is group attack up, and then finally I have healing, right? That's the way you want to do it. In Guild Tech, this is shared by everyone. So by increasing each one or donating, it'll increase it by level, so everyone gets this buff here. Right? So, and that's the way that works. Now, to upgrade your team, right? So, like I said here, it has group attack right now, mine's level 5. I go to my assassin, combo up, it's level 7, same thing with him, combo up, level 7. And here, group attack, group attack, group attack, right? So it affects all of them. Now, for mine, the way I am running my build is I am running a defensive Kyogre and attack Groudon. Eventually it's going to be a defensive Rayquaza, then a Y Mew, and then it's going to be an upgraded Mewtwo X. Right, if you Mega Evolve it and look at its form, right, this is what it looks like. Right, looks really strong. Eventually I get to that point. Right now it's a little slow because it's rank 1, I need 900 to rank up to rank 2. So, it takes me a little time. Now, there are other builds, so there are a lot of people currently using assassin builds, especially with the Zapdos out right now. And so let's go over the Guardians so you get a better understanding of how each one works. Now, I like to use Articuno because it gives a 25% defense debuff to the enemy team for one whole turn. Right, so an entire turn is after each of our Pokemon attack each other once, right? At least once. Some of them can attack more than once. Now I like this 25% debuff because one, it debuffs the whole team, and my Groudon can attack and sweep out any weak ones, right? So if my Groudon hits a few of their assassins will get pretty much annihilated before they even get a chance to attack, right? Or if anything's still weak, my assassins can finish them off. I'm sorry. Now, if I go over and we look over Zapdos, so Zapdos gives an initiative to your team's Assassin and Pierce, right? So there's a lot of people using Assassin builds and Pierce builds, or a hybrid of the both, right? So because their Assassin gets to go first, so they are trying to bank on their Assassin one-shotting one or two of their Pokemon. Now, that build is good, but you have to risk putting out your Assassins in X form to do so. If you put them in Y form, they will usually only attack one time, and if they attack only one time and they don't one-shot it, now they have to sit back and defend and try and last for as many hits as it takes to wear down their shield and then get hit again, right? So that's the hard part and the risky part. Unless you're because most people are running Zapdos with like 2 Assassins, and that's not enough to wipe out a whole team before Zapdos wears off, right? While the Articuno puts a debuff on their team where it allows 6 people to hit them with 25% debuff. Now Moltres, a lot of people pick Moltres because before battle starts it does 500% damage. Now, that sounds good, but in my opinion it really isn't that great unless your Moltres is really high level. Then it'll do some relatively decent damage. But at low level, it's actually not that great. It doesn't do very much damage, and it's kind of a waste in my honest opinion, because it hits one of their Pokemon, it's the one with the highest attack, and that's pretty much it. It's kind of a burnout. So in my opinion, if you're going for AoE damage, I would definitely go Articuno, or if you're going like really high Assassin build, I would definitely go Zapdos. Now let's go ahead and check these two out in action. I'm going to go ahead and attack the person right below me in the arena, and you can actually see the differences and how risky it is to run one over the other, right? So let's go ahead and head on over to the arena. Right, so we'll go after Wario because he's pretty good, and just go ahead and take a swing at him. Right, so like I said, he's running Zapdos, so I'm running Articuno. Right, so I get the 25% debuff, and his 3 Assassins get to go first, right? Right, so that hurts, right? That hurts. Took out 2 of mine. Pretty good. But the downside is, like, my Assassin can kill him pretty easily, right? See, that's the downside, is that if you don't take out all of their big hitters, right, or you don't have enough Assassins, then your team's gonna get wiped out just like that. Because he took out my 2 tanks, right, my tanky-ish ones. So my Kyogre is supposed to die, it's supposed to take the blunt of the attacks. And then my Groudon is also supposed to either sweep out their weak ones or take some blunt of the attacks. And so you saw the big difference there. That's how I was able to pretty much melt through his team shortly after, right? He took down 2 of mine, but I ended up killing him with 6 of his. Alright, so let's go ahead and check out our team comp. So for newer people, if you actually come up here to your team comp and you click this lineup button, you can actually come down like at the bottom, right? So if you look at this, like my Groudon, if you look at bonds, right? If you equip him with this weapon, you equip him with this armor, he gets this buff. Now, if he's on the same team as like in this case Charmander, he gets plus 25% HP. If he's on the team with Aerodactyl, he gets this. With Mewtwo Y or X, he gets blah, yeah. So, but as you can see, my team only has 6. Now, in order to actually make all these count, you can actually hit the lineup button, hit assist now, and what that does is it puts in Pokemon into these slots, and it'll actually fulfill the role for those supports, and they actually get the buff. Right, and so that'll increase your BP significantly if you haven't done so already. Now, upgrading is always one of the fastest ways to increase your BP, right? But it's also the most expensive way. So like my Jirachi, I need 4 Jirachis to level it up, upgrade it again. My Mewtwo X, as you can see, it needs 192 stones in order to upgrade it some more. Now, it becomes tedious, right? You have to keep buying the stones over and over and over, right? So I'm gonna buy this one right now. You go and upgrade Mewtwo X, and I'll show you how much it goes up by. Right, so it's at 52.5% upgrade. It goes up by 2.5%, but look, I got almost 10k BP from one single upgrade, right? So upgrading is always the best way to go. Obviously, you want to try and upgrade all of yours as much as you possibly can, but if you find yourself running short on stones all the time, then focus one, right? You either want to focus on a really, really high attacker or really, really high defense. Now, for Mega Evolve, right, so when you Mega Evolve, you want to choose one and you want to stick with it until you're all the way up to rank 5. Once you hit rank 5, you're able to change out to change the mode. Now, X mode is for attack and Y mode is for defense. It's very different between each Pokemon, right? So, for X form Groudon, so when he has attack mode, if you look down to his attributes, this is what his attack mode does, right? If you click here on him and go all the way to the very bottom, Mega Evolution, so he gains Water Resistance 30, he does 10% more party damage, he gets a total damage boost plus 10% to the entire group for everyone, and then he gets a damage boost of 8%, right? So it buffs him up quite a bit. Now, my Kyogre Y, since he's a Y, he's defense mode, right? So he gets grass resist plus 30%. My whole party gets damage, defense plus 10%. They also get a damage reduction plus 10%. And now enemies chaos plus 8%. Now this is an interesting ability. So enemies chaos is pretty much like confusion in the old game, right? So what chaos does is chaos confuses their Pokemon and they don't use any special abilities or anything, they just attack normally, right? And they have a chance to attack their own party too. So that's a really interesting ability. Eventually, you guys will come across artifacts, right? So you get artifacts, and the way you get these is if you go to Safari, right? And you go get Safari skill, you get one piece every 30 minutes, right? And this caps out at your current Safari level. So for me, it has 660 minutes, right? It's different for everyone else, depending on how many levels yours is, right? Eventually, to make one, I think it's, you need 100, I believe it's 100 pieces, roughly. Or is it 50 pieces? I can't remember off the top of my head. It's 100 pieces. Right, so once you get 100 pieces, you go to create, it makes a holy diamond, right, and it'll be level 1, and it won't have any skills on it at all, right? So if I were to go to the holy diamond here, right, so you go to refine skills, and it costs refined skills, but you've probably been gathering this whole time that you have no idea where to use it, what it's used for these, right? So let's see here, all these skills are pretty good. So purple, right, so when it's purple it means the skill is really good, has a relatively high percentage, and that's why it highlights it purple. So normally if it's a bad skill, these will all be blink when you get this, all of these will be blink, and these will all be unlocked, and all you do is hit refine, it'll tell you, it pops up with the menu, it looks like this, right? Has a chance to replace previous refinements, lock stats to prevent them from being affected. Right, and it has a don't remind me again, and then continue or cancel, right? I'm not going to refine it because, in my opinion, like, these are pretty good load stats. You can auto-refine it, and what you do is you click it for, I only want, like, I want purple, yellow, or red stats, right? Or I only want yellow, red stats, or I only want red stats, and it'll just keep re-rolling until it hits a red stat. Now, the downside is that if a stat is locked or not locked, it can re-roll over that stat, right? It randomly picks one of the rows and applies the stat and a random percentage to that. So you might get like attack plus 2%, and once it's already here, you can't re-roll it again. Like, I have attack plus 6% here, and if I were to re-roll, this will never be attack plus percent, ever. right? So you only get 1 HP, 1 defense, 1 life drain, 1 attack, 1 confuse, 1 damage punish. There's a few other stats that go here too, but you will never get 2 of the same ones at the same time, right? So I'm gonna go over to my Muse crystal, or her artifact, right? And if you see here, I hit a red stat and a yellow stat. And you can see it's almost, the higher the stat is, the better it is, right? So my mute hit damage bonus was 18%, right? And you can see it's really, really high. It's almost at the cap, which is 20% for this, right? And then the bypass defense of 8.4%. So this damage bonus here is actually applied not at her direct attack, it's actually a secondary attack. If you watch the battle with my Mew, if you were to go back and watch it, anytime she hit, you would see that she hit, did damage, and you would see a second damage number appear right after. That's actually this effect triggers here. Now when you initially get this, like I said, this will all be blank, these will all be unlocked, and this will actually be cheap. I think, I want to say it's like only a couple hundred, I think like 400 when you start off. But every time you lock one, it increases the amount of refining stones you need to actually change the stat. So there's that. What else do we need to go over? So you always want to make sure your gems are completely up to date, right? So make sure you're always merging all the time. Your gear, you always want to build yourself. Build your gear yourself, right? So you know what the stat you're giving your Pokemon is, right? So like for this, the Primal Sword, like the Primal set gives HP, attack, right? And some more HP and life drain. While the Z set, or the Z power, right, gives HP 30%. It gives a lot more higher, and it gives damage reduction, right? Which is pretty good. You also want to enchant, right? So enchant takes these stones here, right? And you want to evenly enchant everything, right? And just go through your entire team. Most of the time that's why it's red, right? Because it wants you to enchant, right? So enchant. Right now I'm working on getting everything to 15. And then your gems, right? Always gem everything. Even if you have like level 1 gems, right? Put them in. It doesn't hurt, right? It only makes things better, right? So you can see here for my Mew, like I even have like low gems, like level 5 gems, like, but like I have a level 11 crit, level 10 hit, right? Attack, hit, crit, attack, hit, crit, attack, hit, crit. That's pretty much my entire Mew build, right? Hit to guarantee I hit anyone with a lot of dodge gems on, crit to make sure I crit, and attack to make sure I do a lot of damage, right? My Kyogre, I have defense, dodge, HP. Defense, dodge, HP. And resilience. Resilience is critical resist critical hits, right? And that's the build I go for tanks. Kyogre, I got like a nice hybrid build, right? Decent amount of HP, dodge, defense. Maybe that I had an attack gem in there. In this case I don't, but I'm going to be changing him around to be an attacker. Right? Mewtwo, right? Same thing. Attack, hit, crit. As much as I had at the time, still missing some. And then for Mew, I actually got lucky, and I have 3 out of 4 pieces for the really, really strong armor, right? So you see HP, damage reduction, HP, damage reduction. If I get the last piece, which is Cynthia's band, 60%. Right? That's a huge increase for me. I'm just need to get lucky and hit that. And that's from the coin lotto, right? So if you go up to daily, game room, right? It's these 4 pieces here. This is the last one I'm missing. Now, if you have extra tickets and you don't know what to spend them on, you're not quite sure, right? Something I've been spending my tickets on that have been really, really good to me is the Lucky Egg, right? So it's actually extremely profitable. It doesn't seem like it, but it's only 2 tickets per egg, right? For 1 hammer you get 2 tickets for 1 hammer, and you use the hammer to break an egg. Right, and it's tons of good stuff. It's tons of refining stones, tons of feathers, books. You get your common magic candy, which is an auto level up between 1 and 84. You get halo potions, you get high attack gems like this one, level 11, right? You're able to get a Jirachi. I've gotten a lot of these, which helped me out a lot, the Mewtwo chests. I've been getting a lot of Mewtwo X's and upgrading. and you get these here. This is for building up your city, or the little stat boost. And then this is the rarest item here, is this. If you're able to get this, this is extremely good, but this is extremely rare. So, if you're lucky you can get this. If not, then you're still making quite a bit of a profit on everything else you're getting here. It's almost impossible to lose out when you're doing this, right? This is where I'm getting a lot of my mega stones and stuff too. So I would recommend doing that. For builds, I would go for a balanced build, right? So if you're gonna run an assassin build, you know, make sure you put plenty of assassins, maybe some pierce, and maybe a healer. Right? Not everyone has Jirachi, right? But if you do, I would recommend you buff them up and use them a lot, because every time Jirachi heals, it does a defense buff on them too. Right? So like right here, so Tech 1, Tech 2, right, you get plus 1.5% to defense of the healed. And so anyone healed by Jirachi gets a defense buff, which is pretty good. Helps the healers or the assassins stay alive a little longer if they haven't been killed off already. And then I've also seen Ricochet builds, where they run a lot of Ricochet builds, right? If you go off of the recommended lineups, right, you have pretty much my build's a mimic of this one, right? But instead of Mewtwo, I have Mew. And that's just a dual assassin, right? Or a mythical, right? So this is like a good Ricochet build, just like my front line, and in the back line you have a lot of Ricochet, right, for every type. So these two can Ricochet and do a lot of damage to the back, or do a lot of that damage to the people all the time. On top of that, these three will buff these three in the back all the time. And like I said, can be destroyed easily by an assassin team, right? Assassins can melt through this team pretty quick. But it's all about, you know, if they have Zapdos, right, they can probably melt your team. But then if you play Articuno and your team survives, then your team can wipe them out, right? It's really dependent on luck. That's pretty much it. You would just keep battling bosses, right? Advance that. Every time you do these, it increases your boss number, which increases your gold EXP per hour. For your guild, talked about guild tech, make sure you only level up the skills your team is using, right? Make sure you pay attention to the skills your team is using. Don't forget to always donate to your guild, right? So you want to contribute, right? The rarer your Pokemon is, the more points you get. And the more points you get, the higher this goes, right? The higher you can get that. Guild boss, you always want to attack the guild boss, right? Like right now in this case we have 17 participants, right? And the more people that hit it, the more rewards you get, right? So if you look, right, participants get rewards according to the number, right? So at least 10, at least 15. Look at this. We like double the gold. We get way more stuff, and we get 20 people to hit. Look at all this stuff we get, right? People don't tend to understand that, but it's definitely a thing. Right, guild instances, right, we got 2 going. Right, we got the first kills on most of these. Right, Legend took over finally. Took them quite a bit, but they eventually came ahead of us. But Legend is pretty much every other payer on this server that had got into one guild, right? And that's pretty much Legend. Right, so critical hit. If I were to go to rankings, you'll see it. Like there's me. And then you have Legend. Right, you have all these high level people, Legend, all these payers, Legend, right? They're all in one guild together. And then, yeah, it took them a few days to catch up and actually get ahead of us. And they're barely ahead of us. Oh, something I learned the hard way. If you go to Pokemon Center, right, this is a good way to catch Pokemon, especially if you have a decent amount of Pokeballs. Look at that, just got a mythic. Right, so want to weaken it as much as you can. Kyogre's actually really good because I need one. And then pretty much chuck your Pokeballs at it, right? If I catch this Pokeball, it'll be pretty funny, especially on a video. Let's give it a shot. Yeah, I don't need them bad enough to use Master Ball, but anyways. Right, you keep going through. If you find something you don't like, right, even though this pop-up comes up, you can still click and make it go away. Before I used to think you would have to catch it, and I would waste all my Pokeballs doing that. I did not know that. But hopefully you guys now know that and aren't wasting your Pokeballs. You can just spam it, click through, spam it, click through until something shows up that you need or want, right? Pretty much anything you find out in the wild you can find here. Right? It's like, I don't need a Feebas. And you would just do this. Right? If you have nothing else to do, right, all your stuff's on cooldown. There's no bosses available, or you used up all your chances, and then you would do that, right? Subway Battle, if you have a lot of gems, I'd recommend increasing your maximum vitality here. This will help you level up very, very quickly, especially when you spend a lot of time AFK, or not AFK, but not on the app, right? So the higher your vitality is, the higher this can go up when you're, like, let's say asleep, or when you log in, right? That's even more experience you get. This is why I'm already almost 77, while everyone just hit 76. Right, it's quite a bit. Let's see, where else? I think of other ways. That's pretty much it. You just go through your trials, you do all your gym challenges, right? Do all your dailies. Turning, if you have Sky Tower, always do your Sky Tower. Every day it resets, right? And try and do it. Like right now I'm stuck on 418. Right, I'm almost near the top, but it gets really, really hard, really, really fast. Let's see, Monster Maze, do all your Monster Mazes, right? Make sure you pick the one you're gonna do, right? And only do that one over and over and over, as much as you can, right? So if you're farming Groudon, do Groudons. If you're doing Kyogres, or if you're doing Great or if you're doing Mewtwo X's or Mewtwo Y's, whichever one you choose, right? Just make sure you spam that one over and over and over. Right? So like my Mewtwo X, I've already used all mine for the day. Right? Raids, you always want to do your raids all the time, right? Like if you have tickets, I would burn everything you have until you're done, right? Until you have to do gems, don't waste gems there. And pretty much these recharge every couple minutes, as you can see. Looks like every 20-30 minutes. So I would just wait and do these every day, and always be doing these. Wipe them out. Good amount of gems, good amount of upgrade runes, right? Books, and then the biggest one is the actual Mega Stones, right? Mega Stones are always the rarest thing to find, hardest thing to get in this game. It is the easiest, right? Let's see some other events going on. If you top up, make sure you claim all your stuff, right? Sometimes it takes a while for it to actually appear, but don't forget to keep clicking through and make sure you have everything. Right, you recharge enough, you get stuff. Daily discount, this is going extremely well. I would definitely save up your tickets and buy this stuff here. Going down, right, this will give you great Guardian boost here. Great Mega Evolution boost. This is good for upgrades. This is a lot of good stuff, and it's only 30 tickets each, so that's not bad. Daily recharge. This I would try and stay away from, as advertising as this looks. Right, this is not worth it very much at all. Like 758 for 49 tickets. Well, if you go over here, right, you get 3, 6, now you get 1,200 of this for 30 tickets. So yeah, this resets every day, so I would not get this, it's not worth it. This was an event that just recently finished. Obviously this guy paid a lot of money to have that big of a score. Like I said, Lucky Eggs, really good way to profit. Wishing Stars is a current event. I would definitely not really participate in this one too much, because if you think about it, like, you need, what it wants you to do is you either buy a wishing box, which gives you measly stuff, right? Maybe the refining orbs. Actually, refining orbs aren't even that great. Like this is nothing really that great. And then you would have to, what you want to do is you would want like the emerald, the sapphire, the ruby, right? Which you have to get seven of these to get one of these, which gives you one level 10 gem. It's not that great. It's not that great, especially because you need 5,000 wishing stars to get one. So to get 7, you need 35,000. To get 35,000, you would need almost 1,100. wishing our 1100 tickets. That's too much. Lucky boxes, golden keys. Make sure you do your daily spins. You might get lucky. I doubt it though. I haven't gotten lucky. But it's different for everyone. Ooh. This is pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and buy these. 16 shards for 900? Oh man. This is a good deal. You guys should get in on this. Anyways, yeah, this is a good way to increase your BP. Have a good team build-up. Hope you guys find this video relatively helpful. If you guys have any other questions or want me to do a video on something else, let me know. And I'll see what I can do. Enjoy.